But yeah, I want to talk about Swerve and Booker T. We're gonna start there with this whole thing. Now, this thing has been it's not as recent kind of as it seems. Like this thing has kind of exploded over the last couple weeks. After the show last night, Swerve ended up cutting a promo and then ended it with "fuck Booker T." This kind of is a result of around 6 months ago or so, whenever Swerve, re-signed with AEW, I believe, there was the whole question around the market value stuff. WWE was putting out different things about, Garcia and Swerve and, they're being paid too much and all this other stuff. I believe Booker T made some comments about it. Swerve kind of sat on that, kind of just like let it bubble and decided to respond to him on the Vlad interview. And that Vlad interview is still dropping. It's still not all the way released. I believe it's up to part 14, if I'm not mistaken now. And like they're breaking it up, for every juicy piece of information. I would advise people to check it out. I think you get a lot of good information in it. And this whole thing, featured him basically responding to Booker T about, hey, talk about. He's like talking about being treated fairly or whatever, because he said he didn't know if Swerve was being treated fairly, if he thought he'd be a bigger star in WWE, whatever it is. Swerve was like, hey man, when this man was saying nigga in front of you, that didn't sound like it was fair treatment to me and many others. Booker T then responded with like 1 hour podcast, the Hall of Fame podcast with Brad Gilmore, where he was very animated, going at Swerve. Seemed like he was using his promo voice a little bit. It seemed like he said it he not only responded to Swerve, but he said a bunch of other ridiculous shit, to be quite frank, about other wrestlers needing to wrestle up to his level nowadays, and just acting basically the things that Triple H was telling us, where he doesn't see color. Booker T pretty much echoed those sentiments in his own roundabout way. Led us to the response from Swerve, and then Booker T again responded today, saying he doesn't, really want to respond to him, and Swerve's blown this whole situation up and everything. And just kind of what I think about this thing is niggas is allowed to disagree. I think from Swerve's perspective is like, hey, why are you have something to say about my money? Essentially, why are you trying to flip that situation into me being bitter? I think from Booker's perspective is just like, this is an elder. He's probably looking for respect for a certain degree or whatever. But I don't know, man. How I look at it is, the old, like, it's a lot of like that NBA stuff where it's like the old guys not trying to show the respect to the young guys. And I think Swerve was tired of this shit. Sits and takes arrows all the time, and he wants to respond. So it's up. Let the smoke out. Ciara, have you followed this stuff?
Unfortunately, I have. Um, it's for me. It's the Booker T thing. It's like kind of like the cherry on top of the ice cream that's already been prepared. Um, it goes way back. With Swerve having that one line in a song, and I remember then, and it's like, okay, yes, as a black woman, was I offended? Yes, but at the same time, it's like I've heard other songs that have said way worse things. Like there was a time when rap music was almost banned off the radio. A lot of people don't realize this because of the derogatory fashion and things that were said about not just black women, but women in general. So it's like there has been way worse. There is way worse that is out here on iTunes, and we all have access to it in some way. So it's like, okay, disagree with it and be like, hey, I don't like what you said. You got your preference, whatever. I don't care, dog, but you had to say that. Make it known that you didn't like it, how you felt, move on. Because the way I look at it, it's like all of us here, black folks, kinfolk, we all have people around us within that has the same skin color, same genetics as us, same strides and struggles. that have said some off the wall crap about our own, right? Some of us check them. Some of them are to the point where it's like, man, no matter what I say to him or her, they don't think about what they say. And we deal with this in our daily lives. The problem is, it's a lot of people on the internet that have not understood that there is real life and then this is wrestling. You can disagree or dislike what somebody does in their life, but at the end of the day, you do not know these people personally. And it's gone past disagreeing and disliking what he said to habitual hate. And it doesn't make sense to me because it's like I'm seeing people say some horrible things, but then it's like you were mad because he said something that offended you. So this doesn't make it any better. And now Booker T's roped into this. And then another thing with the Booker T thing that really has aggravated me because I can tell who's phony and who's out here for clout. If you ain't really about your wrestling shit or out here actually giving a damn about this shit, do me a favor, hand your keys and walk out. This is why I left. Because there's a lot of people have gotten in this space that know nothing and just speaking crazy. Booker T got WCW World Championship because he refused to show up for a lawsuit that was filed against WCW for racism in 2000. So, are we really want to sit here and go for Booker T? Yes, you can respect him. He's a legend. He's done a lot for the business. Has he not? Yes. But if we're gonna call one to the carpet, we really gotta sit there and look at him like, hey dog, why was this okay? Because Meltzer has reported on this. Meltzer's wrote about this millions of times, and I don't like Meltzer. Everybody knows that. This has been covered multiple times. Sonny Ono was the first one to file the lawsuit, and he had other African American wrestlers join him in the lawsuit. It got dismissed, let go, settled, out of court, whatever. Booker refused to, show up and testify, according to other sources. So it's like, if we're gonna call one to the carpet, why can't we be like, hey, dog, what was the reason? You know, because I'm not buying this. Let's harp on and be, oh, we all pro black. We all come together because we all have a random dislike for someone and we gonna choose him as our prophet, but our prophet has in some way somehow done something that doesn't really put our best interests or didn't really stand beside his people at one point. And yes, he wasn't around for a lot of things that happened in the power plant and everything, so he could not be like, oh yeah, I dealt with this. But we can't just have one way and then one the other way. And it's just like today I just was like, this is really ugly. A lot of people are, how would you say,
There's a lot of
they're
external
acting like
parties.
this is actually them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a lot
like
of
they're acting
external
like this.
parties trying to basically jump in and like be like, yeah, would you
It's
would you do it in
insane.
his face? Would you do all this stuff? I'm like, if the man said it in front of that many people, I think he's prepared for whatever comes with it. Personally,
Right. I don't think he cares. And I think a lot of people don't realize he's been wrestling for over a decade. He wrestled in CZW. They was putting knives in each other's foreheads on a nightly basis. Like, like think about that. Like, he's been through a lot just like anybody else. So this doesn't matter to him. It's his opinion. But people are taking this personal, like as if he walked up in a house and said, fuck your couch. Like, it's not that it's wrestling. We can't always saddle somebody with our own beliefs if they don't align with that.
James, I want you to jump in here. What do you make of this whole like kind of situation? Because I remember a couple years ago we kind of had like we had the Mark Henry and Leo Rush thing, and I think that was a little bit
Yeah.
different here. But
Hmm.
this is a little bit more contentious, I'd say.
I mean, it just there is a what Swerve said was right. That's actually what happened. Like He was a part of a segment where the most powerful person in the history of professional wrestling said "nigga" on screen during a live national televised show. He let the shit slide. It happened. We've talked about that for years, at different points. And this whole idea of, for me personally, uh, other wrestlers talking about other wrestlers' deals, given that, like, you know, my thought on it would be similar to like pro sports, where it's like no one talks about this. We don't discuss other people's contracts, right? Like it's just gonna lead to resentment if you start doing that stuff. If you result to like pocket watching. So it's like, hey, you up? Whatever you get is whatever you get, and good or bad. If you got more than people expected, good for you. If you didn't, then hopefully next time you'll hit a lick, right? Like that's kind of how that goes, right? Like so, the idea that somebody in the industry that has success is upset that someone else's success is like because it's there's more money now. It does sound like the old time ball players being resentful of the current day guys that the TV money's higher now. There's more money to get. It sounds like that stuff just at face value, and then you throw in
where he works.
Yeah, being on the other side of it. It's and like historically, like how connected Booker T is to WWE, to where like he has students that get signed to WWE out of reality wrestling. Like they're kind of a de facto developmental farm for them. Like it's just like Seth shit is.
Yep.
There is that element to it. Like he is in too deep to have a actual unbiased opinion on this, and I don't think people realize that because people don't really they aren't as into it as we are.
Yeah.
So like I'm sure there are a bunch of people that and also because of age, like don't remember that WCW lawsuit. So like they just think Booker T is some ambassador that never got himself in any controversial situations or whatever. So like that's not necessarily the case. Like he's held water or for major American pro wrestling in discrimination of black people for a long time, and he's benefited by being one of those people that has held that water. Staying for Mark Henry.
Look, that BET list didn't have him number one for no reason. He's been somebody that's been protected and kind of like Book is a guy that has been, I would assume he's been liked. He's been making money in the business for this long. There's somebody that keeps giving him opportunities and stuff like that. And the way that he wanted to get his money, that's how he wanted to get his money. Like I don't think we can necessarily hate on that or anything, but we can also call it what it is and be like, yo, this is what you did. If you can't live with it, Booker, then maybe you should have moved differently.
Yeah.
And the fact Swerve's my friend, I think we can. I'll just step in it here too. It's weird because it's like I want to fire back at people. Then it's like it's not. I don't want to contribute to all of the negativity with it, but it's just like. Nah, man. I know how much Swerve cares about the business. I know how much he cares about black wrestlers within the business, creating opportunities for people, being the person to walk through those doors to basically leave the door open behind them. It's like I know this guy in a way that you people don't. So this stuff really kind of needles at me a little bit, and it's like I think of all the. I think of all the suckers that are basically trying to get their own thing popping off of this. And it's like, one, is not about you. And then it's like, what are you really trying to do? Like, do you really want to see Swerve and Booker T fight each other or something? Is this what you really want to see? Because it's not impossible. It could happen. Who knows? Like, they see each other. Like, ran into each other the other week. Face to face, they talked. Like, I personally wouldn't want to see that because I don't want to approach anything in life with negativity or doing physical harm to somebody. That's not it. But that is all when you go down these roads of pocket watching, and then, saying a fuck you, and then, dropping like that hour interview, whatever, like about Swerve, that Swerve didn't really say anything. After that, he waited again until he had a large platform, very smart guy, calculated, and he's going to get it out as much as possible. And he's saying, Booker says that Swerve shouldn't talk about him after the pay-per-view and all this stuff. And it's like, when does he need to talk? Like at that point, I don't know. It's just really, it's really frustrating. And I don't think either of them are going to necessarily care enough to squash it or anything. So I think we're going to be stuck with this for a little bit. And whatever will happen with it will happen. But I stress to people to realize it is not about them.
No, it's really not. And that was a thing that got me was like, I opened up Nav. It was already starting last night when that video dropped. And then I opened it up today and it was just like, people have turned this into being about them. And I'm like looking at the tweets and I'm just like, so do you have a problem with him personally? Or are you getting way too invested in this and not understanding that this is deeper and it's actually between these two men? What happens is there's so much outside noise that's filtered in and added more to what was said. And probably on both sides, there's also feelings that they probably haven't been able to discuss because now it's just getting bigger and bigger. When this could have been a conversation between them, water on the bridge, everybody move on. But you got people that already have their disdain for Swerve adding more fuel to this. And like I said, yeah, Booker did that. But it's like people that are online complaining today and going off. I'm sitting there like, do y'all remember a few years ago when Booker made that comment about black wrestlers and offended a lot of black wrestlers? And it's like, so we just skate past that because that wasn't just too long ago. So yeah, a lot of people responded then, but I'm like, so what is that same thought process of like, hey, you did say this. You ain't no better. Like, there's no accountability. And I think it's more so people are not looking for the accountability for it because who he is, how he's so respected. And again, he's done a lot. He's been around for a very long time. I can't say I've ever heard anything bad against him. But it's just that doesn't mean you can come out and say what you want to say about people, especially people of your same skin tone. And then you put that out there, and then it's already bad enough in this business where we weren't really supposed to be in this business as it is. We
Just
were
like
putting
anything else.
cars, right? Like we were putting the back seat of cars, trunks of cars to be driven into shows because fear of race riots, being hung from trees and stuff like that. Like there's so many of our own ancestors that were in this business that have had their accomplishments wiped because of the color of their skin. So when you have all that there and then you guys get on the internet and you talking like that, none of that happened, like none of that existed. You gotta really like think about this. Like all of that happened, and then you come online as a respected multi-time world champion, tag team champion, all around, been in every company. And you say that about young up and coming black wrestlers, you don't help. You cater to the already stigma and thought process against black people that come into this business as it is. So it's just weird to see people taking this as a personal thing and not really looking at both sides and seeing like, hey, they both have said some crappy things. Let's let them figure this out. This is not our fight.
Yeah. I agree. I don't know if you guys have anything else you want to add to that, but whatever it's gonna be, it's gonna be. So that's where we at with it. So, but there was a